On December 15th, 2021, Texas County in the Panhandle of Oklahoma had a big fire, and it swept across several ranches, including ours. Thankfully, no one was hurt, and we didn't lose any buildings, despite the fact that this burning beast was 25 yards from our home, and it ran the full length of our house on its race to the river. Now, the river runs about 100 yards from our home, and the fire was driven toward it, pushed by a 79-mile-an-hour straight wind, and pulled by an odd, observable, almost magnetic force. And when that fire hit the river, it rolled down it like a bobsled on a run. The heartbreak of this hot monster was the trees it destroyed along our little river. I mean, the Panhandle doesn't have many trees to lose. Still, there are some interesting and good things that came out of this blaze, and that is what I want to tell you about in this vlog. I'd been deer hunting. It had taken me 45 minutes instead of the 15 minutes that it should have taken me to fight my way through the river bottom and woods to get to my deer stand. That's because the river was choked bank to bank with tumbleweeds that had blown with the fury of hell across the Oklahoma Panhandle 2 years before. The path to my stand that ran more or less parallel with the river was also blocked with decades of fallen leaves and grass and sand that had swept along the prairie and finally found a place to stop, trapped within our tiny woods. In places like this, nature's refuse is typically moved out through flooding, forcing the rubbish out of the necks of the river to find room to decay. But it's been a long time since we've had that kind of rain. Well, later that night, as I stood on the east porch of our home looking out across the river, I remember saying out loud, "God, how are you going to clean this up?" I wish I hadn't asked.
So it's April the 24th, Sunday afternoon. It's about 1:30, I think, in the afternoon. And the sun, I will be walking to the east down the river, and the sun should be just a little bit over my shoulder as I walk east. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to hunt with my bow, my fishing bow, for carp here in the river in the Panhandle of Oklahoma. This is a bow, fishing bow. It's a lot different than just like an archery bow for deer and stuff. It's got this little box with string in it, and when you let go of the arrow, and you don't have any trigger like you do with a compound bow for deer hunting or anything, but it's got that you just pull it back with your hand, and then that arrow goes out.
What was once edge-to-edge tumbleweeds and gunk is now so clean you could roll a bowling ball down its center. These trees are badly burned, and most will fall within a year or two, but for this first spring after the fire, the river is wide open and the water is clear. There's a massive turtle in here. Let me see if I can pick him up. I mean, there he is. His head's just sticking out. I don't have my glasses on, so I don't know if I'm in the right spot. I hope I am. He's massive. Look at the head on him. He thinks he's hiding.
Can you believe that one time that I didn't have the dadgum camera on because the stinking CD card, I mean it's SD card thing is full. Anyway, he's a fighter. Well, he's kind of a fighter. I mean, this is a carp. You can see, let me see here. Yeah, that barb's in him. Whoa! Come here, dude. You're not going anywhere. Come here, dude. Okay, there's my second one that I put up. Get him in the defender.
This pasture was burned bare by the fire, and so were most of the trees. Apparently, a badly burned tree that is still standing will go ahead and bud and leaf out due to the sap stored in its branches, but the foliage won't last. Still, juicy green grass is coming, as well as lots of pretty flowers, and look at the new cottonwood growth that is coming with a vengeance at the base of these trees. Well, on this July day, I'm headed out early to metal detect. The fire uncovered a foundation that I'd never seen before. I'm pretty certain that this was built before the Oklahoma land run, making it well over 100 years old. It's nestled within an elbow of trees that departs from the natural path of the river trees, which makes me think that these trees at this point were planted. When I first saw the foundation, I thought it was a corral of some kind, but after a few finds, I think a woman lived here, and I think it was a home. You know, metal detecting is an easy and extremely fulfilling hobby. To get started, all you need is a metal detector that'll get you within the general area of your target, a good shovel to dig a hole to find your target, a pinpointer to get you on top of your target once you're in the hole, and if it's hot, water.
It's a beautiful day, but it's going to be hot. And I think I'm going to have to do this site in fits and starts because it's supposed to be 103 all week this week. And man, I can only take it for like 2 hours when it's that hot. Well, when I first dug this up, I thought, oh, it's just a piece of sheet metal or something. But it's not. I mean, I don't know what it is. It's a pretty design. And it's got this curve, this decorative curve. So clearly it was something that was not a gear. Maybe it was part of a stove. I don't know what this was, but it's pretty. It's got a little notch here for something. I'm trying to think, what would that be? Maybe the cover to a stove and they'd lift that up to clean under it. This was a mid-tone that the metal detector picked up, and it was a real constant one. It didn't fluctuate back and forth, and it said it was about 6 to 8 inches deep. So I started digging, and here it is right here. And it was kind of tough to pull up, but I got it. And it's a horseshoe, half of a horseshoe. And this was right over the doorway or where the doorway would have been. It's just right there. And I don't remember, but it seems like there's something about, you know, back in the day, people would put horseshoes, I guess facing up, I'm not sure. And that would be good luck. I don't know what this is. I mean, I don't know if it's been busted. This right here at the end is unusual to me. Well, this is one of the things I found, and it's clearly a pipe. Then the other thing I found in this same hole, and they were This is this right here. I don't know what this is, but I love the shape of it. I just love that shape. I thought this was pretty interesting. Can you see it? It's a, you know, I'm not sure what this thing is, but it's some kind of horse deal. And, you know, I don't know. It's got a rounded bottom. I only get to metal detect 4 or 5 times a year here in the Panhandle, and even that depends on the amount of moisture we've had. Typically our ground is tough to dig in, and so every drop of rain or snow helps. Even so, I made a good haul for now at this one site. I don't know what half this stuff is, but I do know that some tough, determined, independent people touched it and used it over 100 years ago, and what they did with it makes my life better today. My prized possession for this site this year is a pocket knife. Of course, most of the wood has long ago disintegrated, but a blade is still there, and I wonder who used it and how. The same fire that pushed the flames down the river to burn up the brush and the tumbleweeds also used its mighty breath to reveal some things I'd never seen before, like a big hole by a cliff that had been hidden and filled up with hundreds of tumbleweeds. Once these were blown aside, I could see unusual holes in the cliff and lots of bone and a gray dirt, which I later learned was ash. Turns out this was a landing place for a group of Native Americans called the Antelope Creek people. This semi-nomadic culture lived a full life on our Panhandle plains, hunting, fishing, farming, trading, and building, and they left some of that life behind for others of us to find. Okay, I hope you can see this. Back here, this is what this is Okay, we got something here, I think, that I want you to see. If it's not what I think it is, then I just won't show the video. But this is something in here that I think it's flint. Yes. This right here is a small knife or a scraper. Oh, how cool. Oh, this is cool. Oh, wow. That we got to see that. This is a, you know what? I think this is a knife. This is just about 2.5 inches long. The end of it looks to be broken off long ago. But this has definitely been worked. You can see the ripples in it from where it's been worked. And over here, you know, you can see it. And what these Indians would do is they'd get a knife, they'd make knives. I mean, I found a bunch of them, but they would make them, and if they were good knives, boy, they'd use them and use them and use them and use them. And this one, some of my pants. Yeah. Oh, God. I'm so glad I had this camera on. I mean, just think, the last time that a person touched this was maybe 1,500 years ago. And, I mean, just some guy or some woman sitting on this hill. Okay. Here we go. Oh, wow. Look at this. That is so pretty.
That is Alibate's flint. And Alibate's flint is about 120 miles from where I live. I've been there. It's a really cool place. It's just a big old like area where there's a lot of flint rock, and these Indians would go up there and they would trade for flint. And they'd get these blocks of flint that were carryable, and I don't know what they'd trade for, but then they would bring them back and use them, and then they'd trade them all over. I haven't found very many pieces that came from anywhere traded very far in this little deal that I'm in. Look at the color in that. Isn't that cool looking? That's so cool. I've been out here for about three and a half hours now. I did get some cool stuff. Anyway, let's take a look at it. I've got it laid out here. I'm gonna take a guess. I think maybe it might be a deer. And then, you know, like a leg bone or something. I don't know what that is. Right here, this is a little pecking stone. You can see the pecks on the deal right here on the end of it. There's our piece of clamshell from the river, and they ate the meat out of that. This, I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's been worked, but it really is smooth, so I'm keeping it. This right here is another thing. I don't know what it is. I mean, you're talking to somebody that just digs. This has been broken, but it is the end of a grinding stone. And right here, I mean, it's just as smooth as it can be. The whole thing is smooth. And they would take these and they would put them in a I think they call them a matate. They would put them in a stone, and they would go back and forth and grind corn and stuff like that. And anyway, that's what that is. It's half of one. This right here is just some big old flint. This right here is the rim of a grinding bow. You can see how it's rimmed, and then it's smooth right here, and I think it's the rim of a grinding bow. And then this is the find of the day, and this is our knife, and that's pretty special.